Namaskar and welcome to yet another episode of Heal Health for All, the 27th episode. And today we are dealing with a very, very stormy group, the adolescents.
Now, first we need to understand that what is adolescent. Okay? क्या होता है जब बच्चे प्यूबर्टी में एंटर करते हैं तो उस स्टेज को हम adolescence कहते हैं. You automatically understand looking at the child itself that the child is entering. You need not know the age. You will see the child and you will tell that this is okay, this is a child and this child is adolescent. Okay, you will see the child. Now, what is the difference? Your body start becoming different as you enter adolescence. Okay, children, as in the girls, they start developing breast. They start having periods. They start growing taller. Okay, and boys, they also start growing taller. Their voice become little harsh. You will see them turning from cute kids to children with pimples and skin issues all over. So that is what adolescence is. अगर आपके घर में एक एडोलेसेंट बच्चा है तो हमेशा याद रखिए कि वो बंडल ऑफ एनर्जी है. ओके, इतनी एनर्जी है उसके अंदर, प्लस उसका माइंड भी एक्टिवेट हो रहा है हर एक जगह पे. उसको धीरे धीरे कुछ आ गई है. लाइक इफ यू वॉच अ फिल्म विद अ चाइल्ड हु इज लाइक 6 years and even if it is adult film, and the child will not actually get anything out of it. They will not understand anything. But now the same movie, if you sit with a 13-year-old, 14-year-old child, they will absorb every single thing. So first and foremost is you have to channelize that energy, okay? Because if you don't channelize that energy, the child may get lot of emotional stress, distress, depression, and those issues, childhood issues, which may stay forever. See, if a trauma happens to us when we were small, we can let go very easily. You know, it goes from our mind very easily. But the same trauma, when happens in adolescence, it does not go. It forms the root of our whole life. Okay, so it's very important that the root has to be strong. First, physically, second, mentally, and third, spiritually. Okay, Brahmani Pranayam helps you de-stress yourself in just 7 to 8 breaths. Okay, so it is very important that the child every morning does Brahmani Pranayam, where they put 2 fingers in between the eyes, one down the nostril, one down the lips, thumb closing your earlobe. Take a normal deep breath in and breathe out. Breathe in Brahmari. I've just taken 2 breaths and I already feel meditative. So Brahmari is very, because they're bubbling in energy, they are restless. Okay, in that case, this calms them down. This brings peace into them. This makes them, so they are still energetic but static. They are not doing this.
और अब वक्त है योर हेल्थ काउंटर का, जिसका विषय है प्रायोरिटाइजिंग एडोलेसेंट हेल्थ इन पोस्ट कोविड टाइम्स. इस विषय पर बात करने के लिए हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर हेमा दिवाकर. डॉक्टर हेमा इंडिया की लीडिंग गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट में से हैं, जो बेंगलुरु के दिवाकर हॉस्पिटल में प्रैक्टिस करती हैं. देश विदेश में इनका बड़ा स्थान है. वह ऑब्स्टेट्रिक्स एंड गायनोलॉजिकल सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया के फेडरेशन की अध्यक्ष भी हैं। डॉक्टर हेमा दिवाकर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ पब्लिक हेल्थ से जुड़ी हैं, उसमें टेक्निकल एक्सपर्ट भी हैं, जो भारत सरकार की एक इनिशिएटिव है। मिस्टर शंकर बात करेंगे हेमा दिवाकर जी से। मिस्टर आर शंकर हील फाउंडेशन के प्रेसिडेंट हैं। उनका जर्नलिज्म में 3 दशक से ज्यादा का अनुभव है। वे अब तक हेल्थ राइटर्स के 200 वर्कशॉप और 7 नेशनल हेल्थ राइटर्स एंड एडिटर्स कन्वेंशंस का आयोजन पिछले 5 साल में कर चुके हैं। मिस्टर शंकर कर्नाटका और केरला से प्रकाशित न्यू इंडियन एक्सप्रेस के रेजिडेंट एडिटर रह चुके हैं।
So my first question would be, can you distinguish the health issues in adolescents before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID? What are the differences that adolescents went through this critical phase of 2 years?
When we say post-COVID, I think a lot of things that were always existing and always needed our attention were in the backyard, and the COVID has bought it and slammed it on our face, so to say. So we recognize the importance of so many things that we ought to have done at the appropriate times, because for adolescents, as the adage goes, you reap as you sow. So you sow the seeds of good health in them, preventive care in them, then they grow up into fine, healthy individuals, which make a healthy country. So the pre and post-COVID has allowed us to make this distinction of really recognizing the importance of health as well. And to my mind, the 5-point program that we always ought to have initiated for the adolescent, catch them young, that is actually the mantra. So the 5 things, one which COVID has brought to the forefront is for all age groups about nutrition and building up your immunity. So the right nutrition, especially in the adolescents, in the growing up years, avoiding anemia and stunted growth, that's one of the prime crucial things. The second is, Pooja ji was just mentioning now about the yoga and the relation to the obesity and the non-communicable diseases like diabetes, etc. So the lifestyle changes, inculcation of the habit of exercise and doing away with the sedentary life pattern and diminishing the incidence of obesity. That's the second important thing. The third thing is, for girls, what happens, especially in adolescence, is the onset of menstruation. Of course, the other secondary sexual changes do happen and happens by default, but one thing that strikes everybody's eyes is the menstruation. So menstrual health and hygiene forms the third important prong. And the fourth is all about vaccines. COVID has brought the vaccine to the forefront, which has made us reflect, well, there are many other vaccines beyond the COVID vaccines, which our adolescents should have got, especially the girls with respect to cancer cervix, the HPV vaccines, etc. So more attention and more focus is now getting onto that. The life skills and the awareness about sexuality, the sexual behavior, contraception, and mental health. So these 5 points, if you really focus, pay attention, do something to make an impact.
We now move on to the next session, session 3, another important session on prioritizing adolescent health in post-COVID times. Where does all this adolescent group form? Are they into the pediatric section, or are they go to GPs, or do you have speciality taking care of adolescent health, and what is the experience in the West, Dr. Neelam?
So now these days, since adolescent doesn't earn, there is a lot of a new wave I'm seeing. I'm sitting in an area where I see mostly open-minded parents here. So at Gangaram, I receive a lot of patients coming with their kids and say the kids was asking for a session from a long time. They demanded, I don't know what is the issue. Do you think there is an issue? Because it's difficult for a parent who has a gap in the children and the adulthood. बहुत गैप है उनके बीच में, समझने में उन्हें बहुत समय लगता है कि अच्छा बच्चे को कोई परेशानी भी हो सकती है जिसके लिए उसको मदद चाहिए. अच्छा मदद क्यों चाहिए? ऐसी क्या बात है जो हमसे नहीं कर सकता है, जिसके लिए उसको किसी और से बात करनी है? मुझे आज भी एक केस याद है, एक बच्चा मेरे पास सीवियर डिप्रेशन के साथ 3 सेशंस के लिए आया. थर्ड सेशन में जब उसका असेसमेंट हमने किया तो उसको सीवियर डिप्रेशन विद सुसाइडल आइडिएशन डिटेक्ट हुआ. द गर्ल वाज 17 इयर्स ओल्ड. मैंने उसके पेरेंट्स को तब बुलाया उसके बाद कि अब ये मैं तुम्हें डिस्क्लोज नहीं कर सकती हूँ, आई हैव टू सी योर पेरेंट्स नाउ. मदर आई, इंस्टेड शी शुड बी इन अ सपोर्ट कि चलो ठीक है कुछ डायग्नोसिस हुआ है. शी गॉट ऑफेंडेड कि मेरा बच्चा मेरे से पहले आपके पास कैसे आ गया. So parents are not ready to give that space also to the kids. Now अगर आप घर में ही एक common space उन्हें दे देंगे तो हम अपने मन की बात कर सकें. And as Dr. Sonia said, don't judge and understand their perspective that they are undergoing this probably will help them out. So for the adolescents, help starts from the home with the parents. Rather they visit their friends, their other peers and take a wrong advice. Rather they should visit the parents. So parents has to give a common space to the kids where they actually come up, speak to them what issues they have and get right help instead of getting wrong help from the peers.
Who actually looks after the problems of adolescents, because they are a very, very strange, confused group and they have major issues mentally.
It is very sad. आप हमारे पुरानी पिक्चर्स में जैसे देखते होंगे ना कि वो फैमिली फिजिशियन का जो कॉन्सेप्ट था कि एक बुड्ढे से डॉक्टर आते थे अपना स्टेथोस्कोप लेके, वो एल्डरली से लेके और बच्चों तक सबको मैनेज करते थे, वो एक्चुअली कॉन्सेप्ट हमारा ना चला गया है. और अभी अनफॉर्चुनेटली ऑल द डॉक्टर्स जो है ना, जैसे they have become very professional. वो टच जो है ना, that is actually gone. मेरे केस में क्या है, as you know, I'm in Gangaram, I'm heading one of the departments. हमारे केस में ये होता है कि सब तरह के लोग आते हैं, बुड्ढों से लेके बच्चों तक. And in fact we are very lucky कि वो हम लोगों के व्यवहार से क्या होता है कि एक ओल्ड सीनियर सिटीजन आएंगे, वो अपने बच्चों को भी ले आएंगे, फिर वो अपने बच्चों को ले आएंगे कि मैडम आप हमें सलाह दीजिए कि क्या करना चाहिए. Then we, as you rightly said, कि वो बच्चे कहाँ जाएं, you know, they are confused, क्योंकि हमें भी समझ में नहीं आता कई बारी. We have people who are actually looking after adolescent health, who are actually pediatricians by profession, but they have actually super specialized into only adolescents. We have certain people in Gangaram Hospital who are actually going to these schools and talking only to the 9 to 11th year students, you know.
ये जो मूड स्विंग होता है खास करके लड़कियों में पीरियड के दौरान, ये बहुत कॉमन है या ये किसी बीमारी का लक्षण भी हो सकता है, सिम्टम हो सकता है?
बहुत सारे लोगों को ये मूड स्विंग्स होते हैं. ये सबसे ज़्यादा हार्मोनल चेंजेस के टाइम की वजह से होते हैं. उस स्पेशली बहुत सारी लड़कियां बोलती हैं कि पीरियड से पहले इमोशनल आउटबर्स्ट होते हैं, रोना आता है या गुस्सा आता है. सो इट्स वेरी वेरी कॉमन. देयर इज नथिंग दैट इज there is nothing that one has to really worry about until one feels कि it is unmanageable और बिल्कुल भी इमोशंस को होल्ड करने की क्षमता नहीं रहती है. और अगर ऐसा है तो इट इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट टू बी वेरी माइंडफुल ऑफ कि आपको ये जो इमोशनल आउटबर्स्ट हैं या जो इमोशनल डिस्ट्रेस है, ये आपके पीरियड से कितने दिन पहले आता है और इसको मैनेज करना विद अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट या काउंसलिंग के माध्यम से बहुत ज़रूरी है.
You know, often you deal with periods and painful periods and everything. So often patients suffer from painful periods, heavy bleeding, pain during sex, painful urination and defecation and nausea. Women often tolerate such excruciatingly painful period cramps because they are told that pain is normal. However, the period pain might indicate a more severe condition if it interferes with one's daily routine. A common cause of such very painful period cramps could be endometriosis. So what is your experience when you worked among the communities?
So when I worked among the communities, I would want to talk about one of the government's flagship program, which kind of tackles these problems, adolescent problem, is RKSK program, right? Rashtriya Kishore Swasth Karyakram program. So I think this program has been, it hasn't flown to the level that it should have, but it has been instrumental in some aspects of changing the dynamics of adolescent health. Coming to your point, like how has been my experience of working in rural communities. So I think so. When we talk about menstrual cramps, it comes after we are aware that we can talk about menstruation, right? So it's a next step. It's a next step forward. But when we go to rural spaces, rural India, women are not even talking about their menstruation. They are making it so what they would do is, even they would burn the sanitary napkin. They would clean the sanitary napkin and burn it so that the other members of the community do not get to know that they are on their periods. So the first step of talking about menstruation is also not happening. So this comes way after that. So also when I used to go to schools and talk to adolescents, one major problem that they had with their periods is, as ma'am, I think Sonia ma'am already spoke about it, that how there is heavy flow happening, or someone is getting their periods in 6th standard, someone is getting their periods in 9th standard, and there is a lot of pressure that builds up also in school, that and not only pressure of getting periods in the right time, but also what products that they are using. So I think all of those things play a very significant role.